Well, and you did leave, I guess I had read somewhere that, you were concerned about leaving a legacy, and you certainly did. I mean, you know, you offered one point of view, and people ran with it, built upon, change and tweak, and, some called you wrong, some called you out there, some called you revolutionary, some, it's everybody's perception on what you do.
I at least am happy about that because there's no one
Right.
point to look at me from.
Still not.
Exactly. So that means that I've done what I need to do because no one's gonna say the same thing about me, which is great. As opposed to saying this president at this date sucked because he or she didn't do this.
Right.
Whereas me is I'm subjective. They know what I did historically, but they don't know what I meant. And that is the difference between authors, philosophers, great scientists. There are different things and different ways to interpret it, but there's only one way to really interpret history.
Through the person who lived it. That's why I think, I think you just touched on the reason why we're doing these master's interviews, because we only have the historical record of, past achievements, possible motivations, and, but to get to know the person and, from that perspective, I think it's really valuable. You took off the glasses.
Yeah, sorry, it is a habit I have when a patient gets it. It's like you just go like, all right, you guys put glasses down. I don't have to work anymore.
Where's my cigar? So on a lighter note, because I know we talked about this before, but Stephen kind of brought it up in his intro. There was a movie made maybe about 20 years ago where you were one of the characters, and the way your name was pronounced is quite amusing. And so if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, it's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where they go back in time and to do a science report, and they gather historical characters, and one of the persons they gather.
I think they'll need to have a vocabulary sheet to even understand this interview, because we've referenced so many things here.
That's okay. That's why it's on video. They could replay it. So, how did you feel about, when you saw that movie or became aware of it, and the way they pronounced your name? Freud Dude.
Fruit Dude is, I would say, a very joyful expression, and of course my movie counterpart was very energetic. I mean, how else can you run through a mall being chased by policemen, authoritative figures with weapons and whatnot? That's the only way I can understand or describe that doppelganger.
Was it amusing to you to see that?
Yes, but there was also a couple other historical figures there that I actually wanted to meet. I did indeed wish to meet Beethoven.
Really?
Yes,
Well,
when I was younger.
Did you?
Well, physically, no.
Well, clearly I meant in the non-physical.
Yes, but story for another time. When I was younger, I had a brief phase, if you will call it that, where I saw someone actually playing, piano, and was interested, but like most children, just, lost interest.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was of course playing Beethoven. The da-na-na-na.
Right. Yeah.
Da-na-na-na.
Yeah.
So.
That's interesting that movie stimulated or reminded you to make that connection with someone else who was portrayed in that too. That's kind of cool.
Yes, and it is indeed. But so that's pretty much my take on the whole
Fruit Dude.
Fruit Dude.
So before we wrap up, I do want to have you talk about your circle. And, we kind of brought this up in another video, that your circle is made up of. Nope, I'm done with the questions. But your circle, you know, is made up of of people who have a like interests, or shared creation interests, so to speak. So could you talk about your circle, please?
Well, I earlier referenced Jung, or as his full name was, Carl Jung. And this may not be a surprise, or maybe it will, but he's actually a part of my inner circle. So, in some cases, you incarnate together to accomplish things, and me and Jung did that.
And there's how many in your circle? I know there's 4. And there's 2 others. Only one of them hasn't incarnated, and the other one has, who I finally met. So there's 4 of you that share the creation interest of, what would you call it?
I know that we would, call it like therapy or psychology or something like that, but it is not so simple because we focus on other things as well.
So the study of a life, because I know that one of them was a professor and wrote some profound books on studies of topics of the mind, and the other one that hasn't reincarnated, which we'll save for a different time. But is it more of an intellectual mind stimulating group, as opposed to you being in a group with people who come and be athletes or whatever?
Yes, we are very mellow compared to them.
Yeah, and probably not very.
We are, as you would say, the original nerds.
That is funny. Well, it looks like Gumi's come and joined us, so I guess this is going to be concluded. Well, Telvar, thank you for doing the master's interview.
You're welcome.
And
it's nice to speak with you again.
Yep. And as always, you always leave an impression on me, and I really appreciate that.
Are you getting emotional?
Maybe just a little. It's Freud. Come on.
Well, let me get the clipboard.
Or are you going to send me a bill, right, for this session?
Yes. 100 spiritual hugs.
Wow. Payable in how long of a time?
You have till the end of the year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's plenty of time then. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.